Hey everyone, it's Jason. Welcome to another unboxing for the Charmed and Dangerous, a Princess Adventure game. This is a brand new story pack called Finding Gossamer. And we're also going to look over the Charmed and Dangerous, the Sisters game, which is the base game, core rulebook update. So if you go to their website, which is, and of course they don't have it listed right on here, which I thought maybe they might have. Which for the 3WS game series for Charmed and Dangerous. If you go look this up though, on their website you can order this brand new book. So if you're going to order this expansion, order this with it. It's a really nice thing to have. So they basically just went through and they revamped the book after probably enough people had played the game after it came out after the Kickstarter, and they did stuff. So they just made it a little bit better, specified some of the things are a little bit better, and I like the fact they included the expansion in here. I like that it's actually a printed copy. I was 100% expecting to order this and get like a PDF file, because it doesn't cost anything, except it probably has some sort of shipping. That's why I say if you're going to order the expansion, or if you don't own the game and you're ordering the game, definitely just purchase this right away. You may as well get it sent to you with your other order. I don't know how much it's going to charge though if you just send it by itself. But even if they charge you $2-3, it's probably worth it if you enjoyed the game. Because they make little standouts on here just to help define what everything is. Lots of the stuff is the same. Like I'm pretty sure these pages, they look almost exactly the same. There might be a little bit of wordage that's different. But then they also add brand new keywords that came from the expansion. Rekindle and Nimble, so if you run across them. Your game layout, setting up a game. Again, I think most of this stuff stayed the same. There's just probably a little bit of correction here and there. Like they did mention here, like you don't have to have a specific villain with the specific layer. Solo play, game sequences, princess actions, how the challenges all work. Really kind of, again, like, look, do little extra pictures to help make sure you specify, you know exactly how they work. How the squad challenges work. Leveling up, villain challenges. Evil's turn, how their stuff all works. Winning, losing the game. Then the other thing they added, so this is kind of where I want to show up a little bit more, is the errata. So if you're not familiar with that term, what it is basically, this is stuff that they decided was wrong with the printing on the cards or rules, but rather than, like, rules they can put in the book here, but like the cards, rather than reprint off 1,000 new sets and have to try and send it out or expect people to go rebuy them, they just post them in like this book, or like Magic the Gathering does it all the time. And it's how this card should work. So you can always play the regular way, or you can use the updated versions. But this big one here is all card types. It's any cards that tell you to choose from the Dangerous, discard, or to choose and shuffle them back into the Dangerous deck should replace choose with draw at random. This rule does not apply to Briar Rose, Dream Necromancer, as she may choose cards from a discard pile. So I think the idea of this was, and like I remember from playing, is this can get very broken. There's a couple of cards that say, oh, when you play this card, you're going to choose a card from the discard pile. You can basically pull a card back to your hand that says, draw 3 cards from the discard, choose 3 cards from the discard pile. So you get to put that other one back in your hand. And you can keep recycling these cards or getting specific things you need to trigger certain abilities. Or every turn you could keep picking out a charming that you could sacrifice it, and then, you know, it did break the game a little bit, like the one, at least in the one time. And then the other quick one, I'm not going to do too much of these overall, but the big giant one are lots of the faux cards. Just specify they do not work at, they either do work for themselves or do not count for themselves. And that's one of the big ones. The other one is a couple of the dangerous cards, like Rally the Faces. After this card is played, it is not discarded, it is removed from the game. They did the same thing with Inkwell, because those cards were just too powerful, And I can agree to that. Some of these cards that you use, they were basically abusive, especially if you had ways to pull them back out with the choose your own card. Yeah, just a couple there, and then they just had some rule clarifications, which they had some of these in the other ones, but you just specify some other different stuff. I'm not going to read through all these. You can read them right now if you want. Here, I'll hold this page up. But yeah, like, it just specifies when you can and can't do stuff. You can pause it and read all those if you want to read all of them. Try to get that glare out of there for you. And there's a few more. And then the difficulty adjustment. So it says the Sharpened Crown Booster Pack. For a challenging game during setup, shuffle it into the dangerous deck. After it has been shuffled, discarding those 80 total cards. Basically, so that you have less cards, because that's one way you lose is by the deck running out. So, watch these games like this. You keep buying more and more expansions, you just keep tossing more and more cards in there, it's going to be harder for you to lose. And again, this is just saying if you want to make it a little bit more harder, you can do that. There's just showing the complete set. You can order all this different stuff on there. Credit to all these awesome people who did this. I love the fact that, again, they made a actual physical copy book instead of just being like, oh, here's 2 pages, like replace page 16, replace this, or here's a PDF file. Alright, so we're going to jump into the other thing. This is the first story pack. They had mentioned another one before this, but I haven't seen it yet. This is actually based off of a book series. So I'm going to do this, and we're going to look at it back. So it says, story packs add all new content to your existing foe decks, allowing you to revisit familiar adventures by adding brand new twists. So rather than having like a full expansion where it adds like a new entire layer and a new boss, this just adds a couple of cards you can toss in just to change it up slightly. So the Spiny Gossamer story pack adds characters and adventures from the hit all-age Gossamer saga graphic novels. These cards will take you back to the Jade Fortress to face off against Scythe, assassin Ysera, and inside her unique lair. So you're going to get 2 princesses, a villain, a lair, 2 dangerous cards, 1 weakness card, which is a new thing, and 8 foe cards. So, yeah, let's jump in and look at these. I've already opened it and looked at it, so let's see what we got. So, first of all, we're going to get 2 brand new princesses. So I'm going to apologize right now if I butcher any of these names. It's just from a story that I haven't read, so sometimes the names are pronounced differently. And I'm fumbling this entire thing right now. But they'll play just as well with any of the other cards. So, we have Jenna Iroman, Guardian of Gossamer. So she has 2 on the green facet, which is, I want to say, Harmony. She gets 2 Harmony to start with. Her special ability, if we flip her over, is Wild Friend. Whenever you rest, draw a dangerous card, then place a pet token on any of Jenna's existing facets. Each token grants Jenna 1 permanent to that facet. Unfailing Support. Whenever a princess needs to run away, you may discard a Charming or any 2 cards from your hand to pay that cost. So you can let somebody else run away. So that's kind of neat. Helps out that way. And then the second one we're going to get is we're going to get Kira Adel, or Adele, Wield Blade Swinger, and she's going to have the Fierce facet. So she has 2 points in that, the red one up at the top. So she has the Contradiction. You may discard any number of boosts. You may discard any number to boost any of Kira's existing facets by 1. You may discard any card to boost any of Kira's existing facets by 1. If you use any non-charming cards, Kira is cursed with poison at the end of the turn. Scarlet Ribbon. During solo challenge, you may discard any number of charming to also target an equal number of additional face-up foe with the same attack. You do not trigger the text or abilities of the additional targets. Ooh, that's pretty fun. So that'd be funny. You sit there and play those two, and we can play off against the new Nemesis, Mass Nemesis? Is that what they're called? Villainous. Played too much Marvel. Nerissa Igbengaroth. So she's the Harley Quinn assassin. If any player has 1 or 0 cards in their hand, she reveals herself. Her master stroke, each player with the most cards in their hand discards their entire hand. And then when we flip her over to reveal herself, we just see what she looks like. She's got like a dagger on her back. She has some little fairy wings. A weird death mask. She's a threat level of 8, 4, 5, and 12. A Mistress of Chaos. Whenever you wish to use a Princess special ability, pay the cost, then reveal and discard the top card of the dangerous deck. If it's a charming, your ability is negated. Ooh. And then the player with the most cards in their hand discards their hand. So you can play her with anything. They recommend the Jade Fortress. So with that, we're going to gain some new cards. So there's our Jade Fortress background. So we're going to gain some new... we have a new layer. You can play with her. She has the Scythe Hive. So invading forest. Whenever a layer fortification is revealed, take 3 random cards from the dangerous deck, discard pile, and permanently remove them from the game. Ooh, so I can get rid of a bunch of your cards you might need. We're going to have some baddies to fight. In our foe deck, we're going to have the Skaith War Party, who have 2 for each bad. That's actually really cool. It's 2 for each. I don't think we've seen that before. So a threat of 6 and 3. Nimble. You may discard a card from your hand to challenge the War Party. So again, let's look at what Nimble does. So when this spell is revealed, you must first resolve this card's effect and then swap its placement with the adjacent foe card. One is directly above, below, left, or right. Then you must challenge and reveal and resolve if face down that foe that the nimble foe replaced. If there is no adjacent foe, you may not challenge the nimble foe. So he comes into play, and then you have to move him with somebody else, and you have to fight them first. So kind of like he reveals himself, but he dodges with somebody else. So that's kind of neat. So we have a second one of those. We have a Dark Arithmancer. So he has 2 facets on each. Ooh, and 1 in the bottom. He has 3 as well. 4 and 4. If you defeat Dark Arithmancer with an even number of orange, which is Charm, shuffle him back into the foe deck, and do not draw a dangerous card. So basically you gotta have higher than 4 to beat him if you really want to beat him. 2 copies of the Vulpine Raider. So he's got a 1 and a 2. Threat level 3. Vulpine Raider is revealed. Shuffle your hand and discard 3 random cards. Ooh boy, these guys are mean. And then we have the Stone Right. So he's a 1 and a 2. He has a threat level of 3. Rekindle. When you challenge Stone Right, shuffle the dangerous discard pile and then discard 3 random cards and permanently remove them from the game. And then Rekindle does, after you defeat a foe with Rekindle, keyword, you must reveal the top card of the dangerous deck. If it is a charming, the foe is not defeated, it is instead returned face down to the spot the foe grid. Reveal card is returned to the top of the dangerous deck. So these are ones that were revealed in the expansion, so they're added on here. Now we're going to get some good cards that can be hidden in there. So we have an item. We have Sounding Staves. Item. When Sounding Staves is revealed, you may search a foe deck for a Master Stroke card and discard it. Then shuffle the foe deck. Nice, get rid of one of the Master Strokes. And then I have Ox Lion. When Ox Lion is revealed, take a random card from the foe discard pile and equip it if possible. If Ox Lion is equipped to any princess, you can ignore the keyword Nimble. And then finally, we have Harley Quinn Deathmatch, which is a one true weakness. When using the advanced finale rule, this card must be found in order to challenge the villain. So, I want to read over that. That's a new kind of rule that they came up. So, the basic finale, initiate the squad challenge against the villainous. This differs from a phone challenge that no dangerous cards can be played. So this is the normal way you play. All your princesses' facets on their cards have to add up to be able to defeat the villainous, and then you win. You know, as all other conditionments. So the advanced finale says, at any point during the game after the villainous has been revealed, a princess may use her action to enter the lair and bring all the other princesses with her. This decision should be made as a group, because once the lair has been entered, there is no turning back. So the other one, you can challenge it, and if something would happen where you don't win, oh well, you lost the challenge. You could, and then you can try it again. But basically, you're going to challenge it and win. This one, you have to do a special thing. Once you do it, you no longer can use the lair at all. When a princess enters the lair, the current foe grid is cleared. Then take the item card that was placed next to the villainous, the one true weakness, and shuffle it with 8 cards from the foe deck. Or, take the dedicated one true weakness for the foe deck you are using. If there are not enough cards left in the foe deck, take random cards from the foe discard pile to make up the difference. And then it says, now places 9 cards face down to create a new foe deck. This represents the interior of the lair. So instead of just saying, villainous takes, villainous takes 8, 4, 5, and 12, we have that, boom, we've won. Now you actually have to have this one true weakness card. She says you have to basically make a new layer you have to enter. So you have to clear the old one, you have to do this thing. Princes don't only drop from the dangerous deck at the start of their turns, nor do they get a card from the dangerous deck for defeating a foe. Runaway is no longer an option, as there is nowhere to run. If runaway would otherwise be a prince's only option, they lose the game. So you don't enter this unless you're sufficiently powered up enough. So it kind of gives you a reason to overpower your characters. If a layer fortification is revealed, it is discarded without its normal effect. It is not added to the villainous total. But the princess that revealed steps into a trap and must also discard one of her own foe cards. Forces of Evil no longer bolster their numbers on a turn. Instead, on step 2, villainous casts a wicked sorcery that forces the princess with the most cards to discard 2 cards from their hand or 1 foe card, her choice. In case of a tie, the princess has the most recently taken a turn as targeted. The one true weakness item must be found and equipped before the villainous can be challenged. The following special squad does the same way. So basically, now what you have to do is go through, you have to place a new layer, you have to search this one card. If you can't beat the villains and you have to run away, you lose the game. If you villain, they just keep making you discard stuff, or they can make you discard your foe, which might weaken you too much. You want to be overpowered, so you don't want to, again, just wait until you have 8, 4, 5, and 12. You're going to want to have more than that to account for if something has to get discarded or if you have to discard cards from your hand. So that is one of the differences. They say at the beginning here, I can find it. Alright, and then it says here in this setup, so choose your finale. If you're doing the basics, you just do that. The advanced finale requires you venture through the final gauntlet search for the one true weakness must be equipped. So it says, if you choose the basic finale, there are no extra steps you need to do. If you wish to try the advanced finale, randomly choose one item card from the chosen foe deck and place it above the villainous. This is their one true weakness. Future expansions will include dedicated one weakness card for every foe deck. So that's what this is. So if you're playing with this specific character, you can use this specific one true weakness. Or you could just use this one since it has no extra effects. You could pull it out and use it with any of the other characters, like the Evil Queen or Baba Yaga or so on. So you don't have to use one that has a special item. But that's what that is. So they're going to try adding these neat things. I hope they make one of the expansions that has a specific one for each of the previous villainesses. Alright, so the last 2 cards is for the Dangerous deck. Is we have 2 more items or allies. We have Luca Navarro Warlark. You may look at the top 8 cards of the Dangerous or Foe deck and return them to the top in any order. Then place Luca at the bottom of the Dangerous deck. And the final one is we have Elric Booth. Whenever you use a charming, you may also use this card at any time to negate the effects of a Master Stroke or a later fortification. So there's an extra special charming, which we can always use more of those. Alright, so that was Charmed and Dangerous, the Finding Gossamer story pack. So I like to add new villainous to play against, something different. Adds two new princesses, gives you a little bit different thing to do. It's also kind of neat because it takes off of an existing story. So I've never heard of Finding Gossamer before I bought this. But if you're a fan of it, you're probably excited. You can play as these characters. So hopefully they keep adapting more different things like this. Make these little story packs. Yeah, they're what, like 15 cards, so it's not even bad. It's like a pack of regular set. But it does specify on here. The Charmed and Dangerous Sisters Grim base set and the Ferris Vanilla expansion are required to use this. Because you need the base game so you have enough cards and charming to do stuff. You need the expansion because it has the Jade Fortress. So that's the only downside of something, I guess, sort of something like this. If you bought this without having the expansion, you're not going to be able to use any of the foe cards. But you can still use the princesses and the nemesis and the villainous. So yeah, check it out. If you like this, pick this up. Pick up the extra book. Pick up any of the other sets you're missing. They showed on this one page here. The Ferris Vanilla expansion, the Sharpened Crowns booster pack, the extra foil cards, and hopefully they keep making a bunch more stuff for this game. I'm excited. See you guys later. Bye.